If we haven't met yet, my name is Sarah. I am a stay-at-home mom of 5 children. The oldest is 10 and the littlest is 5 months old, and she's so cute. They're all so cute. But you know how it is with babies. They're just... I make cleaning content, which is ironic because I hate cleaning and I've had a very complicated relationship with it in the past. Today, I wanted to kind of share with you a system that I have created that helps me keep on track, even though there are a lot of hurdles to me getting things done and done consistently. So I'm gonna get started with why I have a hard time cleaning and why this has been historically extremely difficult for me to maintain a routine. So I was diagnosed with autoimmune diseases when I was 27. I'm 42 now. And if you have any kind of chronic condition, any chronic pain, you know that there are just days when you cannot do as much or you can't do anything. And even though I knew that I had legitimate physical reasons why I couldn't keep up and do as much as I wanted to do, I still would beat myself up about it. I didn't think any excuse was a good excuse, and all I could see was my failings. And if you're familiar with shame and how that works, the worse you feel about yourself, the less you're actually capable of doing, and then you feel worse, and then it's just like a big cycle of terribleness. And I used to do that all the time. I've battled with a lot of mental health stuff, and that's just another thing, that if you're going through depression or you have crazy anxiety, you are probably not going to be worried about cleaning your house. You're going to be prioritizing the things that really are essential. And for me, that's always been my family, and everything that didn't absolutely have to be done was just pushed aside. There are many more things that I could tell you about why cleaning has been problematic for me and keeping my home. But what it basically boils down to is I had an expectation of what my home was supposed to look like and how I was supposed to do that. And it was not helped by YouTube videos or Instagram posts of these beautiful, perfect homes where there was no mess and all of the furniture was new and matching, and the titles of the various videos would be like, we're gonna get it all done, marathon cleaning, extreme cleaning motivation. That to me was so discouraging because I just thought, I don't have a ton of energy. I don't have a lot of time to give to cleaning, and I honestly really don't want to. I hate cleaning. There are so many more fun things to do in life. So that was just the message that I took for a long time, was that there are people out there that are getting it all done, and then there's me, who's barely surviving, who is ashamed of my home. And that sounds crappy saying it, because I know that we should all be grateful for what we have, but we should also be honest too. And the reality for me was, I thought that everyone else was making it happen and I just couldn't measure up somehow. So again, a lot of shame for that, a lot of embarrassment, and it took a lot of the joy out of my life, to be honest with you. Your home, your environment is a big part of who you are because it just affects you. I began to do some deconstructing a little while ago, a couple years ago. And one of the things that I started looking at was the messages that I've received as a woman. And if you ask any man in your life, do you feel like the house being a mess is a reflection of your character, of who you are, of your morality? They'll be like, no. I asked my husband, and he looked at me like I was insane, and was shocked to find out that many, many women feel like their home is a reflection of like their insides, but it's not. As I began unpacking like the messages that I had absorbed and the way that I was seeing myself through the lens of social media and through expectations that I was putting on myself, the more I realized that there was a serious problem. I've been going about this the wrong way. I began to think, what if my home doesn't have to be clean? And by clean, I mean like everything is put away. Every single room in the house is tidy and deep cleaned, and everything is spick and span. That's what kind of that conjures up for me. So I began to think, what if my home isn't perfectly clean? What if it never is? Like, what's the problem with that exactly? And I began to just reason within myself, what do I actually need from my home? I love things to be perfect and impeccable and in their place. That'd be so cool. But am I willing to sacrifice time that could be spent doing other things that are more important to me, and energy, which I have very little of, on constantly trying to make sure that my home looks this certain way? It's not worth it to me. That was my decision. It's not worth it. And so I tried to think about how to adapt what I have to offer as far as what can my body give? What kind of time reserves am I looking at? How do I adapt that to a home that is full, like to bursting? There are 8 people in this home, 3 adults and 5 kids and 3 dogs, and it's a lot. And I do get help. Obviously, when my husband is home, he helps. My older daughter helps, but they are gone a lot and they have a lot going on. I am home all day long. So I am the person who's living with this mostly, and I'm the person with the time to work on it mostly. I figured out that the most important thing to me is that my home is comfortable. I don't need it to be pristine. I'm okay with a mess because that's where I'm at, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. But I also don't want it to be filthy. I needed systems in place that would kind of keep me going throughout the house at a reasonable rate so that things didn't just get really like dirty and gross, which I've been there. Like, if that's where you are, I have been there. But that was one of those things. I don't want this, and I'm okay with this. Let's figure out how to make that happen. It's just an adaptation of 2 things: what you want and what you could do. I know that marathon cleaning is not my jam. If for some reason I could keep cleaning longer than like 2 hours, I will be so wrecked for the next couple of days because my body cannot sustain that kind of thing. Just have to be mindful of that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I wanted a program that if I was really struggling and I needed to take time to rest and kind of get off of my routine, that I could, as soon as I started feeling better, with no shame and no confusion about where to begin, just hop right into it. So I created a plan. I took from like 2 decades of testing different things out to see how I like them. And I just compiled it into something that works for me. So what I have is I have 3 like little sections that keep everything on track for me. And my daily tasks, these are things that have to get done. There's no negotiation. The kids have to eat. The kitchen has to be done. That's like one of my few cleaning non-negotiables, is the kitchen is clean at the end of the night. Bottles have to be made. These are the ways that I built my daily task list. I like having a list that I can mark things off. And so what I did is I made these lists, I printed them out, and then I put them in, I laminated them so that I could just take a dry erase marker and just mark off the things as I did them. Because A, I'm visual. I can actually forget that there are things that have to be done that are priorities if I don't see a list. So, hello ADHD. So I wanted to have my list printed out, laminated, check off what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So that's daily tasks. Weekly tasks is, pretty self-explanatory. These are things that don't have to be done more than once a week to really keep things moving and to prevent a situation where like we're doing marathon cleaning at some point. I will do anything to avoid that. So I have my weekly tasks as well. The third and last thing that I do is deep cleaning. I don't want to spend any significant part of the day cleaning. So I broke up my house into 4 sections, and I figured if I did a little bit of deep cleaning every single day, or, you know, like 5 or 6 days out of the week, then that would keep the whole entire house clean. And it works. Again, not clean like pristine, but like things are very functional, things are comfortable, that kind of deal. I decided to call this sprint cleaning because a sprint is the opposite of a marathon. It's like very quick, very short bursts of energy to do this and then forget about it. So that's what I did. 4 sections for my house. I start all the sections the first Monday of the month. I'll do work on 1 section for the whole week, just a little bit at a time, no more than like 30 minutes a day. And then if there is a month with a 5th week in it, then I'll do any decluttering, which always needs to be done, or I'll just rest. Like if that's what I need, that's what I'm gonna do. I love my lists because they're really good for someone cleaning challenged like myself. I never feel overwhelmed because I know what to do. Even if I'm like down and out for a whole entire week, guess what? I know what needs to be done when I come back and I'm feeling like more able to get into the flow of things. So I love that. And I love that finally I advocated for myself to figure out a situation that would give me a comfortable home, but also wouldn't try to expect more of me than I could really give. And I've just always been my own worst critic, always beat myself up for not being able to do all the things. And I was just really proud of myself for making something that was adaptable to what I have to offer and what I'm willing to give to my cleaning. I started making TikToks about my cleaning, and some of my videos I would have the cleaning list at the end because I just thought it was satisfying to have the little check off when I got something done. And a lot of people started asking about my list. So I made a Google Doc and I put them out there just so that it could be a Word document and people could customize it, because obviously we don't have the same needs. And that was cool. I really enjoyed doing that, but I started getting a ton of emails. People wanted the list to look like mine, and so I was like sending out my personal list all day long. So what I ended up doing was I put together a little booklet to explain kind of some of the mindsets that are really problematic when it comes to approaching keeping your home and how I've dealt with them. Then I polished up my list and added it to the booklet, and I put it on Etsy. That way the lists are all in Word document form so that they can look exactly like mine, but also that they're customizable. And then the booklet, which I kind of was probably too vulnerable in, but I just have heard from a lot of you that you're struggling and that you have this expectation of yourself that is so hard to measure up to. And anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that I relate, and some things that I've done, because I used to be incredibly hard on myself and incredibly mean to myself. I've come a long way. So I wanted to just briefly share that and share some other little tactics with you. So that is going to be in a link in the description box if you want to check it out. I still also wanted to make the list available to whoever wanted them. So I have them in a highlight on my Instagram account. You can just copy down whatever you want or take a screenshot of the picture and keep those, use them for whatever is helpful for you. So I hope anything that I have to offer is encouraging, and if there is something that you're dealing with or you want to know about that I haven't talked about yet or made a video on, please feel free to put it in the comments. I try very, very hard to listen to what you guys want and to make content geared towards that. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.